Was I too young to see this movie back in the 80s, and did it actually affect me? Especially when I made a remake of it, using my son's actual toys, his beloved Bob the Builder. But we're not going to talk about that, we're going to talk about the 80s. Yes, they, back in 1981, successful a film called Raiders of the Lost Ark, created a load of different spin-offs, and I'm afraid, yes, this is one of them.
But I saw it as a child.
As you might figure out now, I'm doing a previous from part 1, and yes, I went and showed the trailer to explain who actually acted in this movie.
The actor Wayne Crawford plays the hero. Dennis Christopher plays the sidekick. Karen Coffins
and the villain, what we haven't seen yet. He's such a good actor, he can actually play me.
The Empire on the sunny side of Sword.
Fine acting that man can do, and I explain a lot in this review, part 1.
Acting bug.
No, I'm not a clever actor. I mean, all I try to do is to get as near as I can to the truth of the character that I've been asked to play.
And that's the business of playing a part, playing a character.
I such believe in John Hurt's acting that he could have played one of them 1970s or 80s Roger Moore villains, especially if you see this movie. And that's why I'm so impressed with John Hurt, that he can actually play ultimate villains.
If I carry on talking about John Hurt, I'll be growing a beard.
So finally I start talking about the movie. It's got a typical 80s intro, and this film reminds me of another film.
When you've got a daughter what comes up to you saying, "Dad, can I go to Paris?" and the first thing comes in your head is a certain movie. Yeah, this one. No.
It seems very familiar of that film, because it's got a young woman what gets kidnapped in Paris, and it'll go straight to her father, who's blaming somebody else.
I mean, I don't have some advice you gave her. I mean, see the world.
It's not fair.
We get an old man what can explain who can save this young lady.
In this case, I think probably Jake Speed's the man for the job.
Not Liam Neeson. And the old gentleman reads paperback novels.
Eldest daughter takes him away, good to get away from the abuse. At least Grandpa's diverted all the attention to him now, away from her. So, yeah. And then she has a lovely discussion with her grandpa.
Those weak, whining simps out there are letting the trail go cold as a witch's tit. They ought to nuke the bastards.
So Grandpa's a typical 80s grandpa. Let's nuke everybody.
But the character feels guilty over her sister, and then she goes out with her friend in an underground car park, and this happens.
Did you hear, son? No. Come on, hurry.
I don't know what that is, but her sister goes listening to cassettes with her sister.
I wish you were here. This is the most exciting thing I've ever done. I can't wait to hug you. I don't think Mom and Dad would ever have let me go if you hadn't talked them into it.
A strange note goes underneath her door, telling her to go and meet them at a bar.
I understand places like this can be very rough.
Jake Speed.
Isn't that the guy your grandfather was talking about? The guy from the comic books?
Lucky enough, they get interrupted by, I think it's that guy from Terminator Judgment Day. Better not do any jokes, because there's a joke of Terminator in this movie. Yeah. 1986, yeah, Terminator, the first one, 1984. Yeah, they do that reference in that movie. In this one they do. So, yeah.
I'll be back. That's pretty good.
So this is our first impression of Jake Speed.
What is this shit? Easy, Jake, easy. Stay with it. This is important for us.
Jake explains they've got to go to Africa.
We leave tomorrow, you leave in 2 few days. Des, give her the travel plans.
Wait a
I mean, later on, Jake asks Margaret to stand up.
This becomes a common habit for Jake Speed to ask her to stand up all the time.
Lucky enough, her friend drags her to the toilet and explains it very simple that this bloke can't find.
He probably knows where Santa Claus lives.
Characters in books like that, they're not real.
So her friend takes her to one of them open street bookstores. Margaret explains to the bookkeeper, you know, is this guy real? He explains
Sure he's real.
this.
Everybody knows that. In fact, I play cards with him every Thursday night. Me, Jake Speed, Batman.
And then you get like some Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, the little red line going through the map. She's reading about Jake Speed.
Jake's got this barber, Mario. Not some hairstylist.
Yeah, the barber. Yeah, weird. And then she catches another plane. She's reading about Harv, a bulletproof James Bond type vehicle. And then, yeah, you can tell she's really going low. Well, not 5-star or anything. Yeah. She's reading about Jake Speed's kid. No, not his child, a self-loading shotgun. Yeah, bizarre. Anyhow, she finally gets to her destination, Africa, and it's a typical stereotype that people want to sell her food. And Desmond's there, just staring at her.
This ain't the most creepiest thing in the movie, and we all know about all these vehicles and guns.
This is Harv. The Wonder Car?
You've been reading.
Long flight.
Our heavy armored raiding vehicle.
So we're introduced to have the bulletproof convertible, or is it? Because Jake Speed seems to avoid bullets by driving into buildings. Sorry, what is this guy doing? Oh, he's meant to be welding. Sorry, I had to mention that, but we're not as bad as the kid. Jake Speed's self-loading shotgun, what's good at putting holes in the walls, and we're first introduced when they go to the hotel.
Don't I have to check in?
We're checked in.
We?
Mr. and Mrs. John Smith.
Yes, he keeps the kid under the bed, and you see the worst conditions of this hotel, and why would an author read his own book? Then he tells her to get ready.
Why don't we take a shower together?
You think this moment might be creepy, not as much as how creepy it gets when they actually physically go out.
Oh, it's quite... Yeah, this happened. Yeah. Do I have to say any more? Yeah.
And Jake Speed actually asks her to stand up again in front of two guys this time.
The two blokes, yeah. Jake's selling her.
How much?
Then this strange thing comes out of her mouth on about diseases.
So, yeah.
I have a venereal disease.
Mobile dandruff? Crotch crickets?
All of it.
Goody, we got a lot in common, baby.
Yeah, quite strange what you hear then. And then Jake boosts the price up even more on her. Everything goes dark. The next thing, you're practically seeing them jumping out of a one-story. Jake Speed had to go at Margaret saying, "You've ruined a good plan. We were going to sell you." And then follow the guys and then find your sister. Yeah.
For me, you pissed everybody off and ruined a perfectly good plan.
What are you talking about?
Simple. We were gonna sell you to the guys who have your sister.
But what if you sold me to the wrong guys?
That is true, Margaret. That is
So them strange guys decide to hide behind a bar, and Jake Speed, well, he's got the kid.
it disintegrates people. Set their shoes. So the next scene, they drive to a barn. It's pouring the rain.
We were gonna wait here for that car called Harv to be dropped. And then we were gonna fight our way through enemy territory.
Scale the highest mountain in this goddamn place. Traverse a bridge that was about to collapse. And then if we were lucky, I mean real lucky, we were gonna fight our way through 2,000 extremely poisonous snakes.
There are thousands of snakes around here.
There's gotta be if you look hard enough.
You're mad.
So she realised this guy's mad in the head. She doesn't sleep with him, just go through his wallet, and then decides to leave. She gets picked up by a couple of guys what take her to the British consulate, what actually explain that Jake Speed is not Jake Speed.
Robert Ronson and James Packwood. I have to admit they are con men with a lot of imagination.
Ronson? Packwood?
Now we've all caught up with the story now.
So Jake's been drinking and he's drunk, and Margaret comes back to the barn.
We slip in, there's
Jake,
boom.
well,
Then we're caught. It'll work.
He tries it on. Really coming out these lines.
You were great too.
Desmond thinks, I better leave. Yeah. I mean, some terrible lines coming out of this guy's mouth. But then it gets all dramatic when he looks down her shirt and noticed the initials SW. What does that mean? Yes, the British consulate guides behind her. Yeah. And then we hear a plane in the distance and a car comes crashing through like an Amazon delivery. Yeah, don't make sense. Yeah, what a weird twist that was. Doesn't make sense. So they're in back of a jeep, we get more conversation that they're talking about some guy still left mysterious. That he would met him in volume 2. We gathered, you know, they're in back of this jeep and they told this wonder car, and their discussion about this guy and these, you know, Jake Speed had a plan and he's annoyed with Margaret. It doesn't actually make sense. To me it doesn't. You know, the average folk might understand this movie, but I don't. I mean, I didn't.
You're about to meet the slimiest son of a bitch to ever walk this earth. Hey, I wasn't talking to you, ass ears.
This actor's impressive, but not the one what's coming up.
So finally, John Hurt's in it now, playing Sid. Yes, he must be the villain because Margaret's sister's there. And he comes out with these consumer advice about women for these guys he's selling them to.
Don't you just love this Santa? You want him white? Well, easy. Just keep him out of the sun.
And then you notice in the background there's this bloke trying to get his attention, and he gives him some attention by shooting him. And then we realise his brother is there, called Morris, and he's complaining about, you know, how he does business.
This rug cost $10,000, and you're draining this savage's blood on it.
So Margaret and Jake Speed are thrown in front of Sid. They're still contending with the rogue. Then Sid more or less pays attention to Margaret, even if she's reunited to Maureen, her sister. He pays her interest in her by pulling her ear. You won't think that you see John Hurt doing this, but he does it in this movie.
It's great seeing you, Jake. You too, Sid.
Yeah, so Jake and Margaret get tied up and bald head dude, what Jake used it into, and they're still moaning about the rug.
25 grand a piece. 30 grand a piece, was it?
So Sid doesn't get the asking price for the compensation for the rug and has a go at the guys, he'll deny it and stuff, but it goes to Jake Speed's scene where they're tied up and Jake Speed's giving out these compliments like he's still in for a chance with Margaret.
If you tell anyone how much you paid, I'll deny it. You gentlemen are tough. Now Morris here will tie up all the little details like cashola. Morris, will you leave that bleeding rug alone, for crying out loud? We've got business here. We've got business here. Morris!
So Sidney sends one of his goons to dispose Jake and Margaret. Yeah, he takes absolutely ages getting there because Jake is having some form of weird foreplay, untying, unroping scene. It just looks absolutely creepy, this. And then they end up kissing and what the hell has happened here? Where's all this come from? They've been tied up and now, yeah.
Only hurt a little. I doubt.
So Morris and a couple of guys come up and insist to help, but it's too late. Guys being foiled, Jake Speed's on the run, and this ends up happening with Morris. He ends up shooting one of the members of staff. You can gather both brothers like executing their members of staff. It's amazing anybody works for them. But then the other guys who are pursuing Jake all around this house end up shooting each other. But yeah, the main mission is to find her sister.
I'll put that. That's pretty good.
Look, make sure that Ali Baba gets his babes. I've got a reputation to protect. Have you got a defective memory?
Oh, our character Sid don't mess about. He finds Jake and Margaret straight away. Well, no bodyguards. No, he hasn't been executing more members of staff, but he starts threatening the ladies. Jake Speed feels,
Sid,
you're leaving me out.
leave them out of this. Have fun with me.
And there's all sorts of weird speeches and stuff, and yeah, Jake's on about begging and stuff.
I'm a bad guy, Jake.
So we get this great speech, from Sid, explaining to be a bad guy to, Jake, and yeah, he begs and whoa, no!
Boom! Headshot!
No!
You suck!
A bad guy's been shot, and then he goes where Jake has this sense that he knows where the kid is. Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah. So they find his gun, and they're still running. Where? Oh, whoa! Oh, the old bulletproof cliche. Yeah. Yeah. And then they. So they go around, and there's this room like a torture chamber. Sid appears with some guards, and they've got Jake cornered, and Sid demonstrates that it's like one of them 1960s Batman traps where Batman's going, the bad guy's gonna finally finish him off. But Sid's not stupid, he actually physically wants to watch by actually demonstrating it on another member of his staff. So it goes up the old cliche, up the steps, it turns into a slide, the spikes us out and chop the guy up, and there's a big massive lion pit. And I don't want to spoil this bit, but yeah, Jake ends up more or less breathing in and getting through the spikes, no, but he ends up in the lion pit. So, yeah, so it's interesting that the actor physically is with these lions, and you've been wondering where Desmond's been all that time. I think he went for a sneaky pee, he went up back at the back. No, he's outside with a remote control, with Harv comes to life, with machine guns appearing out, all these guards appearing at it, wondering where where these strange noises are coming from, and holy hell breaks look where the machine guns are firing. Jake noticed a convenient window and he can't get out because there's machine gun fire from his own guy, and yeah. Jake manages to get to have the bulletproof wonder car, but somehow the windows are wound down, and he gets in and he drives, and there's so much mayhem he can't be bothered winding the windows up, so he thinks, maybe I'm clever to drive into the building, and there's more mayhem. These guys have got happy G's as well, so they don't mess about, but yeah, Jake goes in to get the ladies, but the ladies have already solved their problem. So the vehicle is smashing all over the place, and Jake gets where Margaret and Maureen were, there's a line of clothes like a rope bridge. What happened to Sid and, they're escaping the mayhem, and they try to blow Jake up. Everybody gets conveniently in this vehicle. The girls and Desmond just casually walks in, and then they pursue Sid and Morris as well. And the first thing Sid does is starts threatening the getaway driver who's driving them.
I'll kill you if we don't.
Looks like they're going to kill more members of staff. But he actually says they're giving boost up, he'll make him.
We get there first, I'll make you rich.
So Sid sort of like lightens the load of the Land Rover they're escaping from by throwing all their suitcases out, gets rid of his brother. Then the guy what's driving the Land Rover decides to stop and wait for Jake Speed to catch up. And Jake Speed's got them massive machine guns and he's firing at them, and they're banging into each other, and yeah, for a stupid move for that guy, he deserves what Sid does. Then they finally get to the airport. Yeah, they're actually going to leave the country now. And in all of this car chase, they've been playing this lovely, jolly music as well. It doesn't work, but it does somehow. It's nice and happy music. As we all know, they're in Africa. Jake and everybody gets to this airport, and there's total mayhem. There's like civil fighters shooting at each other, helicopters dropping bombs, exploding. Jake looks at this guard and he more or less lets them through to get into the airport, and then yes, Sid turns up in the Land Rover. He's not getting out that Land Rover, he just runs everybody over, bursts through the gates. They get into a firefight with Jake Speed. Sid manages to shoot Des, and yeah, there's a bit of a ding-dong fight. There's civilians running around. Sid gets a hostage, holds him up, and gives out this weird speech to each other.
The gun wouldn't have jammed! Evil may triumph, Sid. Never conquer.
So yeah, Sid and Jake have a little discussion. Jake has to rub it in that saying that the gun jammed. That's why Sid survived. That he looks on the floor and notices an AK-47, and yeah, Sid's a killer, and obviously that poor hostage gets killed. They end up having an AK firefight against each other. There's all these explosions going out of nowhere, and then there's a big explosion, and then we move on to Jake saying bye to Margaret. So you get this lovely romance that Margaret wants Jake to come with her on the plane, but no, these soldiers turn up in these lorries and they start actually shooting all the planes up what are trying to take off. So Jake's got to leave her and let her get on the plane, and lucky enough he meets Desmond, what's live and well, and they both get into a Land Rover, another convertible one, and they take out the guards, literally take out the guards, and there's all these explosions, and they manage to try to wipe them out. The plane gets off in the air, and Margaret is relieved, and then we find out that Sid is on the plane. And we can't spoil this bit. No, you go see the movie. Aren't I rotten? So yes, I'm being rotten, and yes, she's back at her apartment. Her friend comes in, and typical stereotype, yeah. Margaret's reading Jake Speed. Then she finally goes to that bookstore, and the latest noob edition of Jake Speed, and we find out, well, yeah, she's a bit nice. This happens.
Lady, buying it or you memorizing?
I'm gonna buy two. One for Grandpa and one for me.
So yeah, it has a little bit of a different ending. She walks across the street. We hear this little voiceover from Jake reading the story. The credits come up, and yeah, you gotta listen in to find out what really happens. So we've got to listen.
Truly irresistible. This time, when the lights came on, Jake.
So yeah, it goes all dark, and it's still more or less explaining stuff. But yes, back in 2017, yeah, at the age of 77, we did lose John Hurt as a very fine actor. And this is not one of his greatest performances, but one of the most wackiest ones and craziest ones. And I think like I said, most actors always want to play outrageous bad guy, and he actually did. It is totally, like I say, it's totally worth watching it just for John Hurt to do this strange performance. And I think you just get this enjoyment. He had fun doing this. It's just great. It's a shame, and it's just a hidden treasure, because this film did not do well. Yes, I did see it as a young kid, and with the jolly music, it does give you the impression that it is more or less a kid's film, and the violence isn't that really violent. Yeah, there's a load of blood scenes on that climatic, duel, with a lion pit. Well, what any typical bad guy must have a lion pit. It's just odd and strange. It just has its weird charm. To me, it's worth a watch. To me it is. Obviously I own the film, so I do find it funny now and again to watch it. You're not going to take it serious, hopefully you don't. It's not like some Oscar winning movie, but it's a enjoyable hidden, pleasure to watch. it's silly, it's outrageous, it's diabolically silly, but yeah. It didn't go on the same route as the rest of them, but it does in a way. Yeah, it doesn't make sense half the time, and yes, I do get totally lost sometimes, you know, how the villain ends up, you know, how, you know, seeing the initials. Yeah. Arkham Witter on, and practically yes, the credits are rolling. You might be getting the information if my head's not in the way. And yes, we've got through another review of Jake Speed. A wonderful, delightful, silly movie, I would say. And I don't know, I enjoyed it as a kid, and I sort of like got a little heart warmth of it. Of, you know, now it's, you know, but it does get a bit eerie and a bit boring in the middle of it, I would say. You know, you might as well skip it to John Hurt, but nah, yeah, just watch it all, and yeah, I'm still wittering. You know, you want me to get off? Yeah, the credits are rolling by. We found out who makes all the sound effects for the guns and stuff and all that lot. Yeah, so yeah. So thank you for watching if you got to the end, and well, next movie, well, I do have plenty of bad movies to get through. Oh yeah, I do. So on that note, I better say ciao for now.